أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم الحمد لله رب العالمين أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. We seek refuge in Allah from shaitan the accursed, and we begin with the name of Allah, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. We praise him, we seek his aid, and we ask that the prayers and peace be upon his noble messenger, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Allah calls our attention in the Quran and he says, "O you have obtained true faith, be mindful of Allah. Fasting is prescribed for you in the same manner in which it was prescribed for those who came before you, so that you may develop self-restraint, so that you may develop taqwa." And so we want to begin by greeting you with the traditional greetings of peace, the greetings of the angels of Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So now we're back. This is your brother again, Imam Abdul Azeez, and we want to continue our discussion on getting the most out of the blessed month of Ramadan. And getting the most out of the blessed month of Ramadan, we have to take some things into consideration. There's an analogy that we use all the time that Ramadan comes in as a visitor. And as a visitor, we mean someone like as if they were a close relative of yours that you haven't seen in a long time. This relative usually spends time with you, but then they go back and then you don't know when you're going to see them again. But when you're together, you have the most exquisite time. You have the most excellent time. It's so joyful. And so you hear that they're coming into town. And as a result of you hearing that they're coming into town, you set up activities for them. You make sure you pick them up on time. You make sure that you have it where you're going to set up some activities for them. Where they're going to sleep, where they're going to, what you're going to eat, where you're going to go, whether you're going to the movies or whatever it is. But you set up your program centered around their visit. And you try to get the most out of that time with them until it's time for them to go back. And when you go back, when they leave, you miss them because you don't know if you're going to be able to see them again. So while you're together with them, you get the most out of them. And it's the most memorable time. This memorable time causes you to spare no expense in getting out with them and having some activities with them. And so Ramadan is like that, dear brothers and sisters, where it comes in as a visitor and we are the host of the month of Ramadan. And we are to fit Ramadan into our schedule. We are to make sure we accommodate Ramadan, that we prepare for when Ramadan comes, that we do everything that we can in order to make the coming of Ramadan one that's easy. And that we make it a memorable time so that when Ramadan is over, we knew that we did everything that we can possibly do. And that we miss Ramadan when Ramadan is gone, but we long for Ramadan to come back. Like that guest, that person that is good company with us. Ramadan comes in and Ramadan is our good company. Everything around us is centered around Ramadan's time. It's no longer my time. It's no longer your time. We're on Ramadan's time. And you would be considered a bad host if you were to have someone come to your house and you leave them alone the whole time. And that you barely even talk to them, you barely break bread with them, but they're here visiting you. Ramadan comes in like that, dear brothers and sisters, and we ask you to be careful not to allow Ramadan to come or Ramadan to be here and you miss all of the activities that you could have spent with Ramadan. And then when Ramadan leaves, you regret that you didn't spend enough time with the blessed month of Ramadan. May Allah help us in that area. To that we say Ameen. It's important for us, dear brothers and sisters, to draw up a plan, to say, well, I want to spend this time with the month of Ramadan and I want to get this out of Ramadan. And what we mean by getting this out of Ramadan is we want to fashion our study habit. We want to make sure that we dedicate some time to improving our worship, dedicate some time to improving the way we are, improving things around the house, if you will. And so we spend that time during the day, developing our understanding of the Quran and our understanding of the proper practice of this religion. We do so in an effort to make good on our commitment to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, praising him as a result of him allowing Ramadan to visit us again. So we stop there, dear brothers and sisters, and we'll continue in our discussion about being a host and getting the most out of the blessed month of Ramadan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.